The Last of Us is an action-adventure survival horror franchise that was launched first in 2013 for PlayStation 3. The game is set in a post-apocalyptic world devastated by cannibalistic creatures or zombies that were infected by a mutated fungus of the genus Cordyceps. The game series was well received by critics and gamers and earned numerous awards, including several Game of the Year recognitions. HBO launched earlier this year a TV series based on these games and was a huge success, as probably the best video game adaptation in history. I think Netflix has a lesson or two to learn from them. I don't want to point fingers, but Now, there is one question that I have seen in multiple platforms, in Reddit, in Twitter, you name it. Could that happen? Would that be possible? Would it be possible for a fungal infection to devastate the world as it happened in the game, as suggested in the game? Well, the logic is there, but is it? So what is the science behind it? And I, as a biologist and a very curious person, couldn't resist but take a look into it. And the answer might surprise you, so get ready. We, as humans, well, there are some questionable Homo sapiens out there.
Have you ever seen a Homo sapien?
Yeah, I saw one once at the zoo.
Anyway, we as humans have two substantial protections against fungi. One, our body temperature, which is too high for all but around 300 species to tolerate, and two, our innate immune cells, which can kill most of any fungal invaders. The problem with fungal infections is that they can be really hard to treat, and that is because antifungal medications and drugs can be challenging to develop. You see, human cells and fungal cells are very similar to each other. They have the same structure, very similar structure, similar proteins and composition. And what happens is the drug is not capable of targeting only fungal cells and also affects the host cells, the human cells, and that leads to very serious side effects. And like bacteria, fungi can also develop resistance to all current antifungal treatments and medications that we have. And in fact, pathogens and fungi in this case that are resistant to the 4 types of antifungal treatments that we have already been found. And the worst is for immune-compromised patients that have a really hard time fighting these infections, and the mortality rates can reach up to 90%. Now, as I mentioned, our body temperature is really high for the fungi and they can't survive under that condition. However, rising temperatures, global warming, and globalization can affect the ecosystem in which fungi can thrive, contributing to an increase in severe fungal pathogenesis in humans, plants, and other animals. The fungus that causes problem in the Last of Us series is an unspecified species of Cordyceps. Cordyceps is a genus of fungi found primarily in the Himalayan regions of Tibet and Nepal. These fungi infect and parasitize the larvae of different insects, especially caterpillars. This fungus enters the insect's body, consumes it from inside, and slowly replaces the insect's tissues. And before killing the caterpillar, the fungus alters the behavior of that insect and forces it to look for an environment that favors the fungal growth and the release of spores. Once the caterpillar dies, the fungus emerges from its body, forming a long and slender fruiting body, also known as stroma, which contains spores. This stroma is the most recognizable feature of the Cordyceps, and we see a lot of them in the games and in the series. Now, interestingly enough, these infected caterpillar have been used in Chinese medicine for centuries to cure a multitude of ailments. So, yeah. So if you were looking for a new healthy snack, I gotcha. You're welcome.
Slimy? It's satisfying.
Now, the real inspiration behind the devastating fungus that almost eradicates humans in the series The Last of Us is the Ophicordyceps unilateralis, also known as the zombie ant fungus. Discovered by Russell Wallace in 1859, it can be found in tropical forests. This brutal parasitic fungus infects ants and changes their behavior by hijacking their neural system, inducing them to look for high, humid, and warm places that are suitable for fungal growth. Once the ant finds a suitable spot, it attaches itself with its mandibles, and fruiting bodies grow from the ant's head to release the fungus spores. Now that we know that was the zombie ant fungus that caused the pandemic in the Last of Us series, we can ask the question, can a fungus infect humans and cause problems of that scale, of that magnitude? Can a fungus hijack our neural system and make us behave like zombies, like the zombie ants? Well, the simple answer to that is currently no. And the simple reason for that is because of what I mentioned before. Our body temperature is too high for them to survive in our bloodstream. For that to work, some serious evolutionary work would have to take place. And I'm saying as serious as millions of years of genetic changes. Furthermore, each of those species of fungus evolved to infect a specific insect, a specific species. And evolving to be able to hijack humans' neural system, which is much more complex than the ones of ants, would be a huge leap. Now, in the series, the reason behind the fungus mutation and ability to infect humans is the global warming. And that, I hope I don't scare you, but it's already happening. Fungi that have evolved to withstand hotter temperatures outside would have an easier time surviving inside the human body. And there is one fungal species that scientists believe may have resulted exactly from that: the Candida auris. Outbreaks of Candida auris, which is a multi-drug resistant, is already on the rise, and it's extremely hard to remove it from, for example, from the hospital environment. This fungus was unknown to science until 2007, and suddenly it was found in 3 different countries in 2011 and 2012. Although not really a threat yet to people with a healthy immune system, many are not so lucky. An estimate of 30 to 60% of people infected with this fungus lose their lives. The number of Candida auris infections increased by 59% from 2019 to 2020 and by 95% in 2021. This fungi was detected in more than half of the US states by now, and the number of colonized individuals that do not get sick but have the potential of transmitting it to people that are more vulnerable increased by 209% from 2020 to 2021. The infectious disease expert Arturo Casadeval, I have no idea, I am terrible with surnames, I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing this wrong. He was asked if a fungal outbreak akin to COVID-19 would be possible, and he said that it's not out of the question. So the good news is we won't turn into zombies controlled by a fungus, at least not in the next million years. But with our planet's temperatures on the rise and the ever-changing world we currently live in, nature undoubtedly will present us with new challenges to overcome. And if I may, I would like to present you with an example. In March this year, the whiskey fungus, for example, terrified a town in Tennessee.
An uncontrollable black fungus is taking over a small Tennessee county. Residents say it's killing their trees, covering their yards, and painting road signs black.
The expansion of Jack Daniel's distilleries and barrel houses led to an overgrowth of this fungus in the region, and residents started noticing a black crust covering their houses, their cars, trees, everything. And to make things worse, there's absolutely zero research on the health effects of exposure to that fungus. The installation of air filters could prevent the spread of the fungal spores. However, according to Jack Daniel's director, Miss Willis, that could affect the taste of the whiskey. It could hurt the flavor. Now, there are multiple lawsuits going on and we don't know what's gonna happen, but as we know, money runs the world. and a company that makes billions of dollars in revenue might have the upper hand in court. And that's all I got for you guys today. Thank you so much for watching. Like the video, dislike the video, subscribe to the channel, do whatever you want. Leave your comment, let me know your thoughts about this topic, and I see you guys in the next one. Bye!